because I had this up before because I was looking which game was it. It was Burnley in the League Cup. Just at like August 1999. I think you scored actually.
I did, yeah.
5-0 it was.
See, I scored 2 goals in my career, not just the one.
Tom Ogden's first time in main mode as well.
Wednesday night in the League Cup against Burnley. But yeah,
5-0 was it?
5-0, yeah.
The official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the official Man City podcast. I'm your host George Kelsey, joined by Paul Dickov. Paul, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Very much looking forward to today.
Some good mates of yours, and I mean one I'm really looking forward to as well. Tom Ogden and Joe Donovan from Blossoms.
Yeah, we've been trying to get this one arranged up for a while, but obviously they've been busy. New album coming out, writing songs, and obviously the big gig there at Wythenshawe Park. So I'm looking forward to it. They're not just two great lads, but two big City fans as well.
Lots to talk about in terms of the club as well as what they've achieved so far.
Yeah, they're great lads, down to earth, super successful in what they're doing. So super hard working, and they love Man City, and it's genuine. I get a lot of people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, they're just City fans." To tag with the Manchester or the Stockport thing. But I've seen them at games, I've sat with them at games, and they're as passionate as City fans go. What
I love is that the research for this was just putting my Spotify on. It's great, isn't it, when you get to do something like that? But enough about us, it's going to be a good one, really looking forward to it. Tom Ogden, Joe Donovan from Blossoms on the latest episode of the official Man City podcast. Tom, Joe, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I know me and Paul have been really looking forward to this one. I suppose there's only one place to start. We're recording this about a week or so after Wythenshawe Park.
Yeah.
I mean, what a gig.
Yeah.
How was it for you guys?
Yeah, it was the best gig we've ever done, which sometimes them big gigs, we've had it in the past and you've built it up and it doesn't end up being the best gig yet, even though you're thinking it's going to be. But this one actually was. I think we put so much effort into like the set, and we kind of wanted it to feel more of a show, not just like 5 lads doing the thing, which is great sometimes, but we wanted to like level it up. We were playing to a lot of people, and we felt like we wanted to kind of make it a bit special, I suppose.
I think make it fun as well. That was like the big thing for it. Do you know what I mean? So I want just like we messed around like choreographed dancing. Do you know what I mean? Like we actually did. Like we got Gary out, the big fiberglass gorilla. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. We just wanted to mess around with a few ideas and sort of not take this idea of it, instead of it just being like 5 sort of mates on the stage, like quite serious, being it like it's just us having the best time ever. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of took a lot from other, I go to a lot of gigs and I've done over the years, so it's kind of cherry picking. Oh, I liked what they did there, but then doing that across like an hour and a half, I suppose, as opposed to just like one thing, which we've done over the years. You kind of you start dipping your toe into like, oh, let's try this, but it might be like one moment in the set.
Yeah.
But this was like, it felt like the full set was kind of full of them moments. We didn't want a lull, like in a wedding when it kind of dips and you're like, when's everyone like bringing the food out? Do you know what I mean? Like it was kind of tailored to not have any of them moments. Which would
bring Gary out instead.
Yeah, right, Gary, get it. Let's keep going. But
I know he's were looking forward to it beforehand, but he's looked absolutely buzzing. How long did it take you to come down for it, or have you come down from it yet?
I don't think I have. We both went away, so like we both went. I think everyone went away. I think Charlie's still away.
Yeah, we kind of felt we discussed it, didn't we? We were saying what we're going to do after Wythenshawe, because we had this like week where we were kind of at free after we'd like built up to that, and then before the album promo starts. So we kind of thought, I was like to you, should we just go away?
Yeah, your idea. Yeah, and I was like,
so then
that's a great idea.
I went away with Katie, Joe went away with Sophia, but like, I booked a flight literally the day after. So within 24 hours, I was in Naples having pizza. But I was looking at my phone, like everything was still like blowing up. Yeah. It was like the biggest reaction we've ever had to a gig. Yeah. So it took a few days to come down. Yeah. Because it was like, it's quite overwhelming, really.
So if anything, though, it sort of like fed it as like, I want it more now. Do you know what I mean? I want to carry on doing them. But like, I think if we've got a big gig like that again, we're going to put just as much into it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we've set the tone now, haven't you? For like,
set the standard as well.
Yeah,
exactly. The bar's up there now, isn't it?
And I think because it was such a big amount of people in like Manchester, I think, not that you should read reviews, it doesn't really matter what people say, but it does a little bit.
Does it make a huge difference playing in front of your own people?
I think so.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
They all said that, what I was saying, they all said that you kind of felt, oh yeah, the worthy headliners, they deserve to be there. Like it felt like
that was like the best thing.
They're ready to headline festivals and stuff now, which was kind of good to hear. You know what I mean?
But I think in a weird way, I feel like we've got to that point as ourselves. I mean, I think one of the big contributors of headlining festivals or big stages like that is time. Do you know what I mean? Having the songs, like we've got 5 albums in when this one's out. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you think all the singles off an album, like that's like a set. Do you know what I mean? So you just got a rammer after rammer after rammer. So
it's almost the case of just picking where they go rather
exactly,
than thinking I'm going to play this or this.
Yeah, and I think in the past, like we did Edgeley Park, which was great like 5 years ago. Yeah. But we only had 2 albums out. So you're kind of looking back and it's kind of, I don't know, maybe we weren't actually ready as a band to be as good as we could have been. It was still great. Like I think people came.
You've got to start somewhere with doing that, didn't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you're not going to go, I'm not going to play Edgeley Park because I'm going to wait till 10 years in or whatever. Yeah. But I think on like because we're going to analyse it well more than everyone else would. Yeah. And you're kind of like that perfectionist in you's kind of deep set by this point. So you kind of, this felt the closest to that. I still came off and was like, I think we should have done this at that point. But then I was like, just step away.
Honestly, we all said it.
And enjoy it.
I think I started that song a bit too early. We should have left it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, you do.
You can't really switch off.
Maybe it's Pep. Maybe Pep's instilled this like perfection. Do you know what I mean? In our performance as well. Yeah.
No, it was just fun as well. Because that's the thing. Sometimes you do these gigs, you're not living in the moment on it, and you're kind of too like thinking about other stuff or whatever.
Well, I imagine it's the same as a big home game, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like like you've got like a guest list, and you want to make sure all your mates are in and your family's in, and then you sort of you feel like you need to perform.
But you want to be the best, but you don't make sure you don't try too hard because then it can go the other way at the same time.
Yeah.
There's like a fine line of it being like fluid and just like in the moment, and then thinking about what you're doing until you remember everything, but then not being like too self-conscious. The minute you're self-conscious, it's gone.
Yeah, definitely. Your Wembley goals, your Wythenshawe Park then.
It was, mate. Let's keep talking about it now. 25 years later.
You had a load of it a few weeks ago, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Long may it continue.
It's great, that.
I keep saying it. I scored 1 goal 25 years ago and I'm still living off the back of it now. So
it's like you say every time I see you. It's always because someone comes up and goes, that goal, mate, it's changed everything. You're like, I know, yeah, thanks, mate.
I saw a few years ago you guys had a bit of a posing on the third kit or the away kit, the Paisley one.
Yeah.
What was that like for you guys? Obviously being fans and getting to do it at the club.
Amazing, like good fun, innit? Like
that was at the pub, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there as well.
Oh yeah, because you were going away again. It was
just a pleasure to be asked, I suppose.
It's weird.
And we're into like all the kits and that. Like you still do as like an old school fan. You just like it's exciting still. You still look, what's it like and stuff like that.
The second kit now. Your kit, I was going to say.
Yeah, it's the best by far.
No, it is though. It is. I love it when they do that though. And I love the fact it's the second kit because usually when they do like a retro throwback, it's like the third kit or something. Like I'm buzzing. This one's actually like the second kit. Do you know what I mean? Like I've not got one yet. Sort me out. Dick off on the back.
You got the best man for it. Get it sorted. Let's talk about the new album because it's obviously coming out. Time of recording in a couple of weeks, 20th September.
Yeah,
you got that right. The singles that you've brought out, they kind of seem a bit of a throwback as well to some of the older songs that you've done, which I mean personally I'm buzzing about. How are you feeling ahead of the album going out? Are there sort of excitement or nerves about thinking what people are gonna do with it?
I'm at a point now where I'm really excited about it. Maybe that's because we've just done like Wythenshawe. Things seem to be going well in terms of stuff around it. Like the singles 100%. Just come out, it's gone on to radio. You know, like these little things which you think, oh, is it going to do this? And the feedback's been great.
You can sometimes read it, can't you? You can read how it's going to sort of go and how it flows. That flow feels really good at the moment.
Yeah, it's been positive. And I think you go through waves on making a record. Like, you go through waves where you think, is everything I've done rubbish? You're like, should I start this again or whatever? And that self-doubt's there. But then we kind of got through all that and now it's at a point where I can enjoy it, which is kind of good.
For a lot of people listening and watching, when... Obviously, I'm obviously trying to get Joe out for a drink all the time, but when we're doing the albums, like we're recording, we're writing, I don't think people realise how much work actually goes into it. From your point of view, well, what's it like when you're putting an album together and the songs?
Oh, like the album, especially this one, it's like constant, isn't it?
Yeah, it consumes your life for the period you're doing
especially you writing it first. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it's a big thing, and then obviously, so Tom will go away, write, and then sort of bring it to us and go, oh, this is what I've got idea. And sometimes it's like, what do you reckon? And other times Tom's like, right, do you play this beat? Do you know what I mean? Like you play that and you know exactly what you want. Where other times it's a bit more like open, or sometimes it's like we went away to Wales and like hired this like Airbnb just to get away, because you know it's like you got older, don't you? You start getting hours and you start getting commitments and stuff, and you have to be an adult. Do you know what I mean?
Your life changes. Like when I wrote the first album, maybe in the first two, it's kind of you living at home with your parents. You've got all this time to just write, basically. Got no commitment to anything else, basically. You dedicate your life to this thing. And then now it's like, I'm married. Joe's getting married next year. Everyone's in like serious committed relationships. Like life takes over unless you're gonna you can't really just be like, no, I'm not. Like you can't just do what you used to do when you were like 19, where you like switch off and lock yourself away. But you kind of still need to do a bit of that to like write. So it's actually a weirdly quite a selfish process that you've got to immerse yourself into eventually.
But we thought one of the best things to do, go away. So we've got this house, do you know what I mean? It was like, right, we're going away for like a week. So it was just us 5. And Seema, an artist who collaborated, did some of the...
we wanted to write with her basically. Yeah. She came away with us, so it was like us 6. But it was like no distractions, if you know what I mean. It was us 6. And it was kind of it felt like rekindling a bit of something that we've not had for a while 100%. Because like we said, life takes over and you kind of don't have that... Just being a bit selfish with it in a way to be like, no, we're just going to dedicate everything to this now. And that was great. And that gave us... There was moments in the process where, like, for example, when I wrote Gary, that was kind of like, okay, we like this vibe, like... But then that goes onto a pile of, like, 50 songs.
Yeah.
So then you got to whittle it all down. But then going to Wales was, like, another breakthrough moment. So I feel like these little moments throughout the record where you kind of building it together and you can slowly see it come together. But it's waves. Like, earlier on, you're like... Do you know what I mean? You have knockbacks and you think you've got something, and then everyone around you's like, "No, this isn't good enough," or whatever. And you're like, "Yeah, I need to like go back."
What's that dynamic like?
It wasn't necessarily with us, the 5. It was more like basically we went in to record with Jungle, who we're big fans of, and we were kind of.
Saw him at Castlefield Bowl a few weeks ago.
I was there as well. Yeah. So we've always worked with James Skelly from the Coral, and for the last couple of years he's been like, "You should go and try and work with someone else, like because you've never tried it." And we were up for it, but equally we didn't want. It just never worked out time-wise. So then I've kind of thought of Jungle, knew they worked on their own stuff. So I was like, let's ask them. They were up for it. So we went into the studio in London with them. But this was like early 2023 and we weren't really ready.
It was literally the first of...
It was New Year's Day.
Wow.
But I only had normally I would write loads and then go, right, here's all the songs. Let's now start recording. But we kind of recorded in, say, the first 10% of the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we did like 5 tunes, but 2 of them were good. But we spent money on 5. Does that make sense? So then everyone around us was like, let's pause this a sec because you can't. It was kind of us experimenting, but experimenting with like real money. So we kind of didn't, you know what I mean? You get caught up with it. We just left Virgin because our record deal was up. We decided not to sign again. We decided to do it on our own, which then is like you're paying for it as like the band, which is kind of, it's like a new... You know what I mean? I won't bore you too much with all that stuff, but it's kind of like we'll own the masters more on this going forward. That's kind of why like Taylor Swift's re-recorded the music and stuff like that. So we were in this like weird, equally a transitional period within the band, I think. 10 years in, we were leaving the label, we're going on our own, we were trying working with new people, but we didn't really have the idea yet. So it kind of knocked us back a bit, if you get me. Because us 5 were just like, this is exciting. Sort of
yeah.
So
it's weird.
We were excited though in London with like Jungle, and we did get some really great stuff out of it, but it wasn't quite as finished as we thought it was. Maybe.
I also think that the idea of it then, it might have got carried away and turned into something else, and it wouldn't have been this album now. Do you know what I mean? It's like stereotypical, like them little knockbacks that won't make it really good. Do you know what I mean? You hear it, and you go, shut up. But it's true. It is true.
Like, it pushed us on, and then we kind of kept going and had to write more songs, which was better.
Yeah, and I think like now it's a better album. I remember saying that at the time. Do you remember? I was like, everyone was like, there was a bit of like, oh God, and everyone was a bit down. I was like, in a few weeks, a few months, even a year, we'll look back and go, it's good that. It was good that they pointed that out because it, do you know what I mean? What we've got now is better because of that. But at the time, it just does not feel like that, does it?
You take it personally, but you know, I'm a songwriter and you think, oh, what you've done's not quite good enough. But it wasn't. Like, do you know what I mean? So you needed a bit of perspective. And also, I was opening a bar with my wife, Katie, which basically my life became Grand Designs alongside that. Because it all needed renovating, so it wasn't like chilled. Do you know what I mean?
It's still not chilled, is it?
No, but so we trying to write an album and do that was impossible, basically. So we had to
hammering going on behind.
Like plasterboarding and stuff. Like I actually was. So it's kind of that was once that was done and open, then I just like could focus on it, and then that's when it kind of ramped up and we kind of pulled it all together, basically. And
but it is weird. But that to answer the question, there's loads. Do you know what I mean? Loads to do for it. It's like it's weird, isn't it? Because I suppose it's like a football player, though, isn't it? You look at it and go, "Oh, they're just playing football," but do you know what I mean? Like the preparation and like the
I think
everything that goes
it's great
into
hearing
it.
this and the listeners as well, because I think a lot of people think you just sit down, you write a song, you all get together and say, no,
Yeah,
put
we'll
that
do
one
it.
out and do anything else.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes it can be like, for example, the song Gary, which is on the record, which has kind of become a centre point, and it was written
I
as
love
a
it, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. It was written as a laugh, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I heard the story on the radio and was like,
That's
when I
how
was in the car, and I was like, I'm going to go home and write a tune about it for a laugh. And it turned out pretty decent. But that actual writing of it took like 25 minutes, say. But that's like a burst of like 25 minutes. But it's not always like that. Sometimes it's like weeks of like taking notes in from this thing and listening to that and piecing things together more like a puzzle. Whereas there's no like rule to it, basically. But you've got to do that like 50 times, basically.
Yeah,
to
I think
get the
to
good
whittle
stuff.
it down to the 10 we've got on the album now, there must have been about what? It's got.
I'd say about 50.
Yeah,
Maybe more.
Yeah, probably.
That must be the tough stuff. The amount that goes on just on the cutting room floor. That
Yeah.
doesn't see the light of day, but you put so much effort into it.
We had this big piece of paper in our rehearsal room, and it was just literally all the tunes. Do you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
you'd star what your favourites were. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like,
because we kind of wanted to see it, like, because there's a lot to like think about it all in your head, and we had like options for for album titles as well,
yeah,
and that's where kind of the Gary thing came from, because we were putting other stuff on there, and I put Gary on there for a laugh, like, well, we could call it Gary,
Yeah.
the actual album, and then we tried a few different album titles, and it just felt a bit forced and not us, and I was kind of like, I think we should just call the album Gary,
Yeah.
as like we're gonna do it sort of thing. So.
Yeah. How much as well, I assume it's not as much work or preparation, but how much goes into your videos as well? Because I've always loved the music videos that you bring
again,
out.
that's you. Like Tom.
I know a lot of time you're directing, aren't you? But
Well, Tom went to uni doing editing. Was it editing?
I didn't really learn anything there, though.
Yeah, no,
everything
it's
I've
all
learned,
self-taught.
everything I've learned is self-taught.
It
It
is,
actually is.
When we was in
Wow.
school, we used to do little videos and like.
From being like 14,
Yeah.
13 even, like I got in, I don't know how I even got into it, but I just did.
Well, we used to film at first. It was like putting Diet Coke in, putting Mentos in Diet Coke.
Oh, yeah.
And closing it. And I had a little camera. Used to film that, and then it was like.
And then basically I just realised I could get it onto the computer, the footage I'd filmed off like a little digital camera, and then I could like line up my mates punching each other with the sound effects. So then it stemmed from there. So all the little films would just be fighting.
yeah.
So then but then I'd make like little series with my mates, and I'd be like, right, everyone's coming around here,
Yeah.
and we're making this series that no one's ever going to see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then we started putting it on MySpace, didn't we, in like year 11, and people buzzed off it. And then I've always been into it, basically, and I thought that's what I was going to do, like make films. That was kind of my passion. Songwriting was like on another one of them things that you never think you're going to be able to do that. It kind of felt more achievable to be like a video editor or something in my head.
Yeah, but you don't think, do you, like being? I imagine it's the same. Did you actually think you were going to be a? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you dream you're going to be. don't
yeah,
you?
exactly.
But
Yeah, you
then-
wanted, but I suppose everyone around you is going,
but
"What
then
do
the
you really want to do?"
Yeah,
Do
the
you know what I mean?
percentage, yeah. In
And
school, teachers saying, "Are you going to football or not?"
Yeah.
What do you really
Yeah.
want to do? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, the videos were kind of, any chance we have, we go back to like doing them ourselves. Over the years, we haven't always been able to do it because you get busy. Like the earliest videos, we made them all because we had no money. It was like, I'll edit it, I'll film it.
Yeah.
We did it, like, shot the first video in my mum and dad's garage, didn't we? Like, lined up loads of drapes like this.
Went to
and just shot it
Pound Yard
against
in
that.
Stockport.
Oh, yeah,
Got
yeah.
load of black fabric.
Yeah.
Just sort of pinned it up and then filmed it ourselves.
But this album, we did a few ourselves. So the one with like Sean Dyche in and Rick Astley and
gonna
stuff
ask
like that,
about
that was
that.
us. And
Yeah,
we shot it on
I
film.
must have missed your message. On that.
Getting you in the next one, mate.
Yeah, you should do
Have you
that.
not seen my acting skills recently?
Oh, I've seen a few adverts.
So yeah, it just comes from having a passion for it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
Has it become more normal now to have, like, I mean, Rick Astley's in your music video. Like, you've played with him, you've brought songs out with him, people like that, and then Sean Dyche as well, because you're massive football fans. Just having these people in your videos, like, have you kind of come to terms with that?
Nah,
yet?
it's still like when we got like Sean Dyche and stuff. It's like when I text it was like, oh my god, he's gonna do it. Do you know what I mean? Like you still buzz off it. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's ever like.
I think certain relationships become, for like Rick, for example, like we are really close with him now.
It's just
But
it's a
the
fun,
first
yeah.
initial, when you first start the friendship, was like, this is mad, Rick Astley. Do you know what I mean? But then like you slept at my house in like the spare room and stuff, and like
I was glad you said the spare room there.
yeah.
That's what he's telling us.
So that's kind of become weirdly normal now. Do you know what I mean? Like it's such a normal relationship.
We've got a group.
Even
chat.
with Dyche now, like I was at Glastonbury with Dyche. Like
It's class.
Katie had to leave Glastonbury to do. This is another mental. She had to leave Glastonbury to do Green Day's hair. This is mad. She doesn't normally do that. She's a hairdresser, but she got asked through summer. And then I was left on my own at Glastonbury for a bit, but Dyche was there, so I just was with Dyche for like 2 days. It was boss. But So that you know what I mean. When you spend that much time with someone, it then becomes normal.
It's normal,
but
innit?
like getting him in a video wasn't at first. It was like, this is mad. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny, isn't it? It's mad.
Knowing he's a fan and that he's
Yeah.
up for it.
Yeah, do you know what, weirdly, we knew he was a fan before. He went on went to the Isle of Wight festival and we played it. And he did an interview, like a radio interview, and there's a little clip of him that was like, I saw Blossoms, you were really good. And I had this on my phone for ages, do you know what I mean? I was buzzing off it, and we were like, we need to get in touch, try and get him down to a gig. But you always say, don't you? Actually, the reality is that you never actually do. Yeah. So he never came about, and then just bumped into him at a Rick Astley gig. Rick Astley got us down, he's friends with Rick. And then we just sort of met him in the seats there, and he was like, oh, how you doing? We were like, oh yeah, great. And then he was like, I love your band. I was like, I've seen a clip of you saying it. Do you know what I mean? Then, so he was just dead natural. And then,
we were obviously asking him loads about like being a Premier League manager and football.
Yeah, nosing him up.
And he's not bothered. He's like really
New
interested
guys,
in the workings of like music, which to us is just like, again, our life is a bit
Day-to-day,
normal, isn't it? Yeah. So it kind of works in that mad way, like, because he's interested in us and we're interested in him, I suppose. But it's not fully normal. It's still a bit like,
it's class.
It's more like when your mates message you who are like, they've got like, quote unquote, like normal jobs and love football and stuff, and they're like, how's he in your video? Like, what's going on here? I'm like, oh yeah, like, we met him a few weeks ago and stuff.
Yeah, amazing. And I suppose the other one there as well was Noel, because you obviously did a gig with him, didn't you, earlier this year?
Yeah.
Flying Birds. I mean, that's another one as Stockport lads coming through with probably the most iconic Manchester band out there at the time. Like, being with him must be amazing.
Oh yeah, we supported him in Europe in 2018, which was a dream come true. Do you know what I mean? Because we grew up. They're the reason I started writing songs. Kind of, we went to our first gig was Oasis at Wythenshawe Park, and you think like when our band started to kind of gain momentum, they were the ones you're like, are we gonna meet them? You know what I mean? Because you start meeting the odd person here and there, but we didn't meet them for like quite a while, did we? I think it took like 4 years before we met any of them. We were like, they're like the gods, aren't they, for us? So we were kind of made up when we like met them over the years and hung out and stuff. So it's kind of
we're supporting Liam in like 2 weeks, so in Malta.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we're the only band that sort of cross over the two.
The bridge.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then obviously now they're back together.
Yeah.
I mean, how exciting as firstly as fans, but also as musicians, how excited are you the fact that they are back?
Yeah.
As fans, it's like I feel like I'm 16 again. You know what I mean? Like, we were looking at the photos of them together, and there's all the outtakes, and we're like, they're laughing together there. You know what I mean? Like, you still, when you've like loved a band, I think people will only get it if you've been that like into that. You've been that into a band before, where you kind of know everything about them. You listen to all the discography and all that. Yeah. That was us, wasn't it?
My iPod just used to be just Oasis.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally that's all it was.
It affects everything. It affects the way you dress. It's why I grew my hair when I was like 14.
It's why we're mates.
Do you know what I mean? You go into the hairdressers and take the photo of them in and go do it like that. And it's like, the clothes and everything.
Think back to all the photos of me with a feather cut with a Parker on.
Yeah,
I was
it
like
is
full
mad.
on, like, do you know what I mean?
It is mad how much they like can influence you. Even like I think my singing especially when I was younger, you're just trying to sound like that. So I think it's seeped in so many different avenues to us, which is big.
Yeah. Do you think they're the band that you've maybe taken the most from out of anyone?
Maybe on like a subconscious, like just because we consumed that much of it, but I don't think we necessarily.
The good thing
sound
with the
that
Oasis,
much
obviously,
like
how big they are. But then the sort of bad thing is when you're a band coming from Manchester, straight away labelled. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and you're gonna because they're so big. Do you know what I mean? It's not just like any other band. It's the huge.
People probably expect you to another Manchester band.
Exactly.
I don't think we never really got the comparisons to be fair, because we had like synths and stuff.
I think we tried to.
The music's different, isn't it?
Yeah, like it was a conscious effort though. Do you know what I mean? It was something we sort of thought about early on. Was like, we can't. Like, I remember we always used to wear black turtlenecks every gig, and that was because every other band was sort of just dressed in like a paisley shirt and pop boutique. Do you know what I mean? Like back then, we were just like, let's like change it up. Do you know what I mean? Let's do so. Yeah, exactly. And it's so small.
It was
weird.
I mean? Like, it's weirdly like they probably influenced us the most, but it doesn't always come across in the music, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So weirdly, the attitude and the kind of you can go and do it yourselves from a working class northern background, that stuff, and the music, obviously. Yeah. As a songwriter, I was influenced. Like all my early songs when I'm like 14, writing tunes, are just like Shine and Fade Away and all this. Like it's all like just ripping off Noel. Do you know what I mean? But then you kind of, your palette then grows and you experience life stuff, and then you end up with this amalgamation of your influences, which I don't think, you won't put us on and be like, oh, that's necessarily, but I think you can hear certain
you can hear certain
influences. But it's very much you. When you know straight away.
But I think coming from here, there's a few bands like Cortina's, another one we've mentioned before. They were like
Well, he was called Liam, wasn't he? So he
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
he had it.
But
he
Joe,
had it
because they were
worse
like
from
so
it.
prominent in that time when we were growing up, that was like, because Oasis by that point were Oasis. Do you know what I mean? Like that was untouchable. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Cortinas were like, these are from here as well, and these are doing it. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it's another band that I think we just sort of, you're like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? We could do this as well. Do you know what I mean? We're from the same area. And like, I can remember when I found out where Liam and Noel, like, Burnage. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, like, I'm Stockport. It's
down the
here.
road.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, God, like, yeah, it could happen. This, it could. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really could happen, but it don't feel like it, does it? Do you know what I mean? Like you were saying before about the making it thing. You always think, I don't know, is it right? Is it gonna? Can we do it? Is it?
Well, there's always somebody to see or not, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the thing,
exactly.
but
Yeah,
that drives you on at the same time, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
yeah. Well, it's a disappointment, isn't it? And it's weirdly the people closest to you can sometimes be the ones who are as well are like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like, think about something else because they don't want to see your heart broken.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because out there, I imagine it's exactly. I know it's the same with football players. There's probably so many people who are good enough, but just don't get it and don't get the break.
opportunity.
You've got to have a
just
bit
don't
of
get-
luck as well. innit?
Yeah, and I think it's the same with bands. It's so bands probably not as many anymore. It's not the same. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mad, innit? With football, he's like, I feel like he's
It's
huge
weird though.
talks.
I feel like he's being young as well. You're so much more fearless.
Yeah.
Like I was
Oh.
anyway. Like I didn't think about. I was like less self-aware of everything. Like I wasn't like.
Well, you don't think about failure when you're younger, do you?
No.
It's more as you get older. You
But
start
I
thinking,
even wasn't like
Yeah.
obsessed on getting to this. It was just like, right, take this day by day. You're just enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think if I started the band now, I'd be like, oh yeah, what about this? Like, what about what I
So
mean?
true, yeah.
Overthinking it loads. Whereas when I was 19, didn't care. I was just
Yeah,
like,
when we first got our
you've
first
got
tour
a
and stuff.
spring in your step, aren't you? You just think you new kids on the block. You're like, yeah, we're gonna like stand out here.
Yeah.
You don't really care if what people say about you. Weirdly, but like I look back sometimes. I think, am I the same person?
No,
Because I would not be able to do that now. Maybe I would in a different way.
Yeah.
maybe.
Calling your album Gary's a bit mad, isn't it? So,
That's class.
yeah.
It's brilliant.
But yeah, Oasis are massive.
Yeah, so we're very excited. Very excited that they're back together.
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah. I've got to ask, say as much as you want to
Yeah.
say.
No, it's fine.
Is there any chance you might be with them at any point next year, or are you just going to be watching at this
So
stage?
obviously we'd love to, but there's nothing. Like we saw MEN did some wrote up about it. Daily
No, I think
Mail's
the
Sun.
Daily Mail and the Sun literally printed it like it was true, but it's not.
Yeah.
we've not been asked.
Yeah,
Nothing
not
like
been
that.
told.
I don't even think they've sorted it out.
No,
I reckon it'll be
but
next year.
obviously, do you know what I mean? You can imagine. We just spoke about it then. It'd be like,
Shin pads are on. We're ready to go.
yeah, do you know what I mean? 100%.
But
yeah.
no, we
Yeah.
haven't been asked. But I mean, obviously going back to how exciting the announcement is, it's kind of we'd obviously love to do it because the influenced us so much.
Getting
and
to,
stuff
getting
like
to the
that.
point, like, you know what I mean, my mates are like, are you just shorting? I'm like, no, I don't know. He's like, you just can't say, can you? I'm like, I promise
No,
you.
I
Do you know, it's like,
actually
I
can't.
Even
swear
my
down.
brother was like, someone at Megan, his girlfriend, was like, his fiance, should I say?
Yeah.
Someone at Megan's work has spoke to someone in your crew and they've said, you've got it. I was like, you and I'm your brother. Like, I'm the singer in the band.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I've not been asked. Do you know what I mean? Nothing. He's like, yeah, but you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm not withholding any information. So,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It is
see what
mad.
happens.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's become that thing now where I'm buzzing the back together, but then there's also a little part of me that's like, please let us support us. Or
Yeah.
dead selfish. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with it. I want to play with them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Oh,
like
you
a
got to look
kid.
out for yourself. Every now and
Yeah,
then,
do you know what I
haven't
mean? Yeah, I want to do that.
you? Yeah.
I'd do 15 minutes when the doors open, me. Not bothered.
Acoustic.
Anything. No, not just me.
Oh, good. That's all right. I thought you'd leave me there.
That's a bit selfish, isn't it?
Tom,
We'll just
no!
go on and do the extended Charlemagne, and that's it.
Just play Charlemagne.
Yeah, people would
class.
buzz off
Yeah,
that.
I'd love that.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that'd be class. Before we get on to talking about football, because obviously City podcast, massive City
Yeah,
fans.
yeah.
Just wanted to do a couple of things from your early years, because when I was like looking through and everything before we came on, some pretty amazing stories. I mean, knew anyway the fact that you all grew up so close together anyway, but
Yeah.
you two particularly go way back, don't you? And was it Alton Towers where you met?
Yeah.
And
On a school trip to
Yeah.
Alton Towers. Not very rock and roll. We got the trip for 100% attendance.
stay in school.
That was year 8, though. And then it went downhill
Downhill
after that.
afterwards.
Yeah.
It does though, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? When you're like early, it's weird, but I was never really ill when I was a kid.
No.
But
Miles
if I-
said that, didn't he? Miles was like, well, you just go in, don't you? I was like, well, yeah.
You
That's
did,
what we-
didn't I? I mean,
Yeah,
if I
mum
woke
mum
up-
wouldn't let me.
Yeah,
be
if
there.
I
Wouldn't let me.
woke up, I feel a bit ill, mum, like,
Yeah, go on.
get uniform on. And get in
Unlucky.
school.
See how you feel at half 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I tried that once. My dad put me on the bus. And I got off at the next stop and he was waiting for me.
What's it?
That's never
Can't trick or
happening again.
tricker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You knew
He
straight
was
away.
like, boy, I've been there. Don't worry about that. So get back on.
But yeah,
I love that
Alton
one.
Towers. So we met with like, we had some mutual friends of like, I think it was like the girls in our group, didn't we? I
Yeah.
knew some of, we kind of had like, there was one girl, Emma, wasn't it? You
Yeah,
lived
the
on the
neighbour.
road with Emma.
Yeah.
She was mates with some of the girls I was mates with. So then it became like, we were like the only lads in that vicinity. So obviously you gravitate towards each other, don't you, when you're like 12, because you're like,
Can't kiss girls then, can you?
No.
I'll speak. So then we obviously then were like, started talking, and I can't really remember it. I remember the bus there and all that stuff,
I
but
can't remember.
then you just become mates, don't
It's
you?
that
then?
fearless thing again, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, no, you won't really go. I mean, I probably, but you don't really go up to people and go, "Oh, you doing? You all right?" And just like
You do that everywhere.
I was gonna say, yeah. But when you're a kid, do you know what I mean? That sort of thing is like. I remember a big thing was music though, Oasis and all that.
Yeah, that grew then from being 12 to like then you're 13, 14.
Yeah.
By 16 we went to Oasis at Heaton Park, but at school we had a few classes together. Like we took drama together, didn't we? And
Yeah.
we were into the same stuff basically. And me so it was like making the films, Oasis, and then football. They were like, that was like the.
Because there's that time
what we
where
did.
everyone's listening to terrible stuff and everyone's just doing it. But then I think I started peeling away from it all, and you did too. And then music for us was like the thing that was like, we were the only two really who were into that.
Yeah, I
I don't think
suppose.
there was anyone else in that. I can't
No,
really
no.
think of anyone else in that. Yeah, he's like, do you know what I mean? It's just me and Tom. Do you know what I mean?
And you
Like,
grow your hair at the same time and all that stuff. It was
Yeah.
like in year 10, like I'm growing my hair. And everyone's
Yeah.
like, Oasis, the
Moped.
Beatles. And you're like,
Yeah.
Look
yeah.
at him now.
Who's laughing now?
Yeah, he's messaging me for Oasis guest list
Yeah.
now. Well, I can't sort it because I don't know if I'm going yet either.
It does though. It becomes part of your identity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Music in particular, I think, is really
But
personal.
it's that time, innit, when you're like that teenage years. That's the sort of cementing time. Before that, you're just sort of following the herd, aren't you? And you're doing stuff that all your mates are doing.
And then
it's a bit-
you go become 18, then you start going to like
Yeah.
nightclubs, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
again another level of like the music influence, and it weirdly grows your music taste. I think that as well. Like we went
Yeah.
to like 42s,
Yeah.
probably just into like Oasis and the Stone Roses, and by the time you get there and you're like, oh, what's this tune? And it's like, I don't know, Joy Division or something, and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, it
Yeah.
kind of grows it, doesn't it, within that world. So
I even think genres as well. You start as soon as you hit the teens and the later teens, you start to branch out a bit, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And listen to other stuff, because it's not like when you're sort of just in college, like I just listen to Oasis and Britpop, and that's me. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, well, I hate them. Do you know what I mean? I don't like Blur because I like Oasis. And you still got these weird like, but when you're older, you're just like, oh yeah, Blur them in as well. Do you know what I mean? It's fine.
Yeah,
No one's gonna kill you. They're
Yeah.
great. Both of them are really good.
Yeah. It must be quite mad though. Like I presume you're not going 42s anymore, but like
I wish.
people go in there. I know, yeah, same. I can't hack it anymore. But like kids going there now, teenagers, and hearing you guys in there.
Yeah.
Must be pretty mad thinking there could be the next Blossoms in 10, 15 years time.
Yeah.
All going in
it's
having that
surreal.
influence.
Like we're up on. They used to have like, what would you call it? Like the
The stairs.
the
yeah.
stairway
Remember
up
that,
to
yeah.
like, and it's like all like the famous bands over the years like stuck on there, and obviously we go there so many times, and then now like we're on there, which is like mad. Do you know what
We
I
do
mean?
it all the time now though. We've got like a guy who works at 42s, and Tom will send him tunes like the day before it's released
Yeah.
for him to play in there.
Brilliant.
Because we love that old like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like
The old school thing of like, like
there's something
play-
romantic about
Yeah.
it. Like, I heard this tune. Do you know what I mean? Like it's brand new. It's
I
like,
heard it
it's always-
first, sort of thing.
Yeah, like send it like 42s early. Do you know what I mean? Like
But it is surreal when you kind of think about that stuff. But you have to do stuff like this to then think about it. Like
course you do.
it's good to reflect because you don't. You just. I think being in a band, you
Yeah.
constantly like look forward. Like,
I was
what's
gonna
the next thing and stuff. Where sometimes you've got to be like, nah, it's great what we've done.
well, I was
Like,
gonna
it's
say
mad.
then, even now it's got to the point where like festivals and stuff, and younger bands are coming up to us like, oh, I used to listen to you in school and stuff, and you're like, oh. Do you know what I mean? What? Do you know what I mean? Like,
saying
we're
that.
sort of not that like young band anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like we're sort of
You
on
need
our
that
fifth
though, do
album,
you
like-
saying about always looking forward? You need that time to reflect a little bit
Yeah.
and think, do you know what? I'm proud of what we've just
Yeah,
done. here,
yeah.
you
I
know?
think that's
Definitely.
the biggest thing with our band
I
at the
think
moment.
so. I've made a conscious effort to do
Yeah,
it.
we've all of us are sort of made a big thing, like reflecting, like looking back a bit and being like, oh, do you know what? Like, because we've always said as well in interviews, like the one thing we wanted was longevity. Do you know what I mean? Like 10 years in now, do you know what I mean? Sort of like 5 albums, and it's like, that's pretty good. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty good going, especially for, like, seeing as though bands aren't like a big favourite at the moment. Do you know what I mean? We've done well to sort of be able to stick with
Amazing,
it. It's
yeah.
like, yeah,
Absolutely.
it's good.
Yeah. Speaking about venues and so on, your first gig was at Night and Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Another really funny story I remember hearing was about the amount of money you made, but then how you got a parking fine.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was like, if you got over 30 people in, you got paid like £1 per person.
head.
I think it was like 38 people, I remember. Yeah, £35 ticket fine. Charlie.
Made £3 or something like that.
Yeah, good
Good start.
Still profit.
Yeah,
I mean.
Get in at 42s.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, it was.
Get a night out in 42s. That back in
yeah,
there.
yeah, definitely good. But it just again, it shows how. Do you think you're quite lucky as well, growing up in and around not just Manchester but Stockport as well?
Yeah.
Really lucky where you've grown up to
Yeah.
have that influence, because music is so important around here. Isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think so. You can't. you can't help but sort of soak it in a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Even the people who aren't really into music, when they sort of know that they're from the same area, you can't help but be like, oh really? Do you know what I mean? When you hear that, you sort of, your ears prick up a little bit. And
I think, yeah, we're going with like the lineage of like the amount of big bands that have come from this area. It does help.
there's something in the water, isn't there?
Yeah, because like I always go back to it, but like there's no, like Norwich don't have a band that go and play like a big outdoor thing in Norwich. Do you know what I mean? No offense to Norwich, because I really enjoy playing Norwich.
They're offended though, aren't they already, Norwich?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, is it a coincidence that there's that many people from this area? Like, I feel like people buy into it a bit as well. Like, the fans are like,
it's influencing looking up to these people that
Yeah.
have done it before.
Even like big
romanticising
yeah,
it.
even bands in like London and stuff, their biggest gigs will be in Manchester. Do you know what I mean? There's something here where people like that.
Yeah, they love bands and live music and indie music, I suppose, especially.
You're going to get booed when you go Carrow Road now, aren't you?
Yeah. In the corner like that.
Yeah. I used to get booed there every time I went. Like most grounds.
Speaking of footy, let's talk about the footy. Finish off on
do
that.
it.
Yeah, 100%.
Massive City fans your entire lives, aren't you?
Yeah.
So tell us about those early years going Main Road and then off to the Etihad a few years later.
Yeah, I mean, my mum and dad were both City fans on both sides of the family, so I had no choice in the matter. But obviously, I wouldn't have it any other way. And yeah, my earliest memories are like Paul's era, and kind of that Gillingham game is probably I can remember it properly. Do you know what I mean? I was at my nana's house watching the game with the kit on and a flag in the garden. I was probably like 7, and then from then on in was kind of obsessed and had all the like the videos of the season, and I'd just sit and watch every game in that League 2 season, whatever it was. You know, the equivalent wasn't called that then, was it? Division 2, whatever it is, Division 1. And then went to Main Road because I had this up before because I was looking, which game was it? It was Burnley in the League Cup.
As if
Just at like August 1999. I think you scored actually.
I did, yeah.
5-0 it was.
See, I scored 2 goals in my career, not just the one.
Tom Ogden's first time in Main Road as well.
Wednesday night in the League Cup against Burnley. But yeah,
5-0 was it?
5-0, yeah.
What was it like, Paul? What were the goals like?
I can't remember, mate, if I'm being honest.
You scored so many.
I think I scored a header that night, actually.
I can't actually remember the goal.
You'd remember if you scored a header.
The footage will probably
I
be
had
on
to jump for
YouTube
it. The
now.
ball was to try and get in there.
But yeah, my dad actually took me with all his brothers. That's who I went with.
You went with your mum?
No, my dad took me.
So your dad was back.
My dad was in the Navy, so often my memories of Main Road is my mum taking me. But that one was actually my dad with his brothers. But then I went to a few other games at Main Road. I remember one was we was in the Premier League by this point, and this was against Newcastle. I think we got beat 1-0, and Shearer scored a penalty. We were right next to the away fans. Weirdly, that's the ticket my mum got. It was just me and my mum, do you know what I mean? With loads of rowdy people. And it was like, I remember being like overwhelmed. You know what I mean? You kid, this is mental.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're my memories. I remember I even saw George Ware at Main Road, like randomly. He only played about 5 times, didn't he? So like, yeah, that was like my era. So
I'm sure George left because of me.
Really?
Because Joe left him out. We played Bradford, and Joe left him out and put me in. And I think he thought, if I can't get in this team ahead of him, after being why I said I'm off.
He was a Ballon d'Or winner, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he won it in like the 90s.
Yeah.
How did he end up at? It's mad that, isn't it?
Do you know what a guy he was as well?
Was it?
I know he didn't stay that long, and on the coach, just the most humblest guy ever.
Really?
Helping everybody, helping Chappie with the kit, and you think this guy's won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
AC Milan, Chelsea, and everything else. But
yeah,
you find that though, don't you? Then like sometimes the huge players, that huge thingy, but do you think that's because they're sort of constantly reminded not to lose their heads?
I don't. There's some that are, but George was just
a personality.
Coming into the club, everybody was buzzing, weren't they? Fans, players, and change. But George Weah coming into the changing room. But the first thing, look, in training, he was great. He'd lost that half a yard of pace, but the one thing that hit everybody was just what a good guy he was.
Really?
You know, but you shouldn't expect anything different. You
No,
know?
I mean,
it's kind of nice when you see it. So loads of early memories of that, like them kind of years. Then obviously I watched because it yo-yoed a bit, didn't it? Like they went up and then went down and then ended up in the Premier League, and then obviously seen it right through to. I went to the Etihad a few times, like in the Sven years, and even before that, Kevin Keegan and stuff. I remember going to like a trip when they just opened it, like where you could walk around the stadium and look at it all. Do you know what I mean? All the kids were there in the day, and I was there with my brother and my mum and dad. So I remember all that, and then got a season ticket the year Mark Hughes took over. So I'd have been like 14 by that point. And then that's when you started coming with me to the games, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because your dad was a market trader when you were younger. So you didn't really get to go when you was a kid.
Yeah, weekends for me was, you know what I mean, off the cards completely.
Yeah.
And I used to get babysat by someone and they just weren't into football at all. Do you know what I mean? So it was like,
Luck of the draw.
Yeah, football.
You're not getting influenced.
It was weird, yeah. It was a weird one though, because my family on my dad's side of my family like my cousins and stuff were like massive City fans, and I remember my earliest football meetings asking to go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to go to a football game, and they were like, "No." Do you know what I mean? Not coming. So I was like, "Oh, right, fine."
Also worth mentioning the film Jimmy Grimble.
Oh yeah,
that was a big influence on me. So I was obsessed with that film, and that was like '99. And even the music alongside that, the soundtrack's all like indie music from Manchester. So that kind of was like a weird kind of awakening of like, this is life. Like City and music was kind of all you're asked about, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then obviously it just went like that, didn't it, from like 08 onwards. But it took a fair few years.
Yeah. But yeah, like I say, the thing with me and Tom, do you know what I mean? Started becoming mates, music, stuff like that, and then he was like, "Oh, I got a ticket." Do you know what I mean? I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to come." Do you know what I mean? That
you know, like when your mates can't. I think 5 of us had season tickets together, and one of them would be like, "Oh, I can't make it." So like, right, Joe,
it's that time when you're only 14 where you like. Your parents sort of just like, yeah, you can go to Manchester on your own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before then, it was like you had to do everything with your parents.
Yeah, but you've got to be back at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. But that was like the first time where it was like, yeah, you can go to like a game on your own. Like,
we get the train to Piccadilly, then walk down the canal, and it was like this huge, like just independence and being like, oh yeah,
we still do that now.
Going to the game. Yeah, we still walk down the canal.
Because then the year after that, we got a season ticket together, and we used to walk down the canal all the time. When we go to the game now, we walk down the canal, do exactly the same route. Get the same train, do you know what I mean? And then walk down the canal. We love doing that.
And a little stop off at the Dakota Hotel.
Exactly, that's where we always bump into someone else.
Can't imagine who,
yeah. But do you know what though? It's like, it's weird because we were saying this. Like football for us is like, it's the one thing we do where we don't really speak about we end up obviously speaking about the band and stuff, but do you know what I mean? We try and just keep it like it's something we do as a mate. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it's weird now, we sort of work together. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that we have to have discussions about. You're just a bit like, oh. Do you know what I mean? You like might disagree, or you have to have like them hard conversations about. Whereas like when it's football, it's like
it's like kind of feels like what it was like before the band, like just as mates going.
Did you get a lot of people sort of saying, "Oh yeah, they're just Man City fans"? They say they're Man City fans because I even people of mine back in Scotland are from up in. They say, "I know you guys are like, but are they really City fans?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You should see them at the games."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I said they're so passionate.
Yeah.
They love the club. They're the same as everybody else. Oh, Dad, they're just City fans because it's easy to attack. And I said, not at all.
It is weird.
Completely
you get a bit of sometimes like because we're from Stockport, you get a bit of stick, don't you, with the banter and stuff, which will always be there with like football fans. But like, at the end of the day, your parent, I just support City because both my parents do. Like, it's ingrained into me. Yeah, you just kind of you don't really have a choice. And they were City fans from the 70s and the 60s. Like, it goes back and back, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like even me, because like say when I was younger, football just wasn't. I'm not afraid. Do you know what I mean? People are, oh, so you only started when the money. I was like, no. I have mates with Tom. Do you know what I mean? Then he was going, and then I started watching City. Like my family is City fans, but I wouldn't say growing up. I was like, oh, because I could easily sit and go, oh yeah, I was a massive City fan when I was younger. My dad worked on the markets, and football wasn't really, you know. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't a big thing. Match of the day, that was it. Do you know what I mean? You'd watch a match of the day, but that was literally it. And then mainly
City weren't on it.
Yeah, if you speak, exactly. If you speak to my dad about football, he said like when he was younger, he's a photo we've got of him in a City kit. Really, really young, do you know what I mean? Like sat on this like ball in the garden. But he was like, oh yeah, but as soon as we got into the markets, weekends were biggest day, do you know what I mean? Biggest profit day. So he just sort of went and can't help it, can you? Do you know what I mean? It was but it's weird, and you only get that with success, do you know what I mean? If we were still in sort of League Two doing nothing, no one would go, you're only City fans because do you know what I mean? Because it's easy.
Yeah,
do you know
you're
what I mean?
only City fans because we're in League Two.
Good. You know what I mean? There's a video of me and Tom running around the pitch when Aguero scored that goal before the band, before anything. Do you know what I mean? I've got my Union Jack helmet on because we took our Vespers down that day. Do you know what I mean? And like, there's loads of stuff like that.
It's ingrained into us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's proper.
Yeah, I'd like to say it's the one thing that we've got that sort of runs alongside the band, like doing stuff like this.
And if we watch it wherever we are as well, do you know what I mean? It's like we'll get the stream up and we have to get like VPNs and all that stuff, like because obviously you can't always get it you can't get like the proper stream. Yeah. I like the mad element of like finding a sports bar in like this mad place, and you're ringing them and you're like, have you got the Man City game on? And they're like, no, right, ring another one.
You do everything you can to make sure you watch the game as well.
You kind of honestly, some of the things we've done to like watch City games, like, you know, like 4:30 in the morning. Do you know what I mean? Watching
Bangkok,
exactly. Yeah, just like that sort of like, or everywhere, Japan, just trying to like get like Tom said, then get streams or something. Weirdly, sometimes it's easier to find games on TV when you're abroad.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because they've got them all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get the 3 o'clocks, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and stuff like you can actually.
In America, sometimes they've got like every game on everything. I'm like, this is great. I can watch like United, Chelsea, and that at the same time. But,
Yeah, proper sports bar. Do you know what I mean? It's like. That's like the opposite though. It's like 8:30 in the morning. Do you know what I mean? You're like, can we have a pint? You know what I mean?
I've done that. I did that in New York a couple of seasons ago, and he was like, I was in to watch the game, and they just opened, and I was like, just get us a pint, just do it.
And you sat in like this like English pub in America. Do you know what I mean? Like
or they're like Irish bars.
It's always
it's like a theme.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
You hear the accent now and they expect it, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like, there we go. Remember before we actually started recording, you're actually saying that, I don't know which game it was, but there's a game that you're going to miss because you're touring.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't believe it. That was living.
Arsenal. It's like the Arsenal game.
It's Arsenal.
Yeah, we're in Malta.
But that's the day we play with Liam Gallagher. So I'm like,
there you go.
Well, he'll want to watch the game, won't he?
Of course he will.
So he'll have a little set up.
Full kick-off, innit? So.
Do you know, when we first played with Noel, I had a City kit. Well, it wasn't. It was a drum kit that I was like, I wanted sky blue. Do you know what I mean? And then I had this City sticker on it, like a massive one. And Noel walked past, was like, class that. I was like, oh, thank you.
Cheers, man.
Being a friend. Do you know what I mean? Thank you, mate. And then he took us on tour, and that tour with Noel was mint actually.
Funny, remember when we nearly beat
United
and we did win the league that year, but we nearly beat them to win the league.
Was that the 2-0 at half time then?
Yeah, and then Pogba scored and stuff, and it went 3-2. We were on tour with Noel and we watched it in this like bar in Hamburg, 2-0 up at half time. We're thinking, big party after this. Do you know what I mean? City are winning the league, and then he just like obviously United beat us 3-2, and then he just got off and went, and we were like, well, there goes the party. Do you know what I mean? It's not happening now.
What could have been?
We nearly went to the game. Do you remember? There was one point where Noel was like, I'm going to fly back for it. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to sort of play now and all this. And he was like, you two are City fans. There's 2 seats. Do you want to come with us? I mean, so I'm like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be the best thing ever. We're going to fly back. Do you know what I mean? We're going to
win the league.
Win the league.
In the jet.
Yeah, in the jet with Noel. We're going to fly back, carry on doing this tour in Europe. And then he was like, oh, we worked it out with the pilot stuff. We'd have to leave 10 minutes before the end, so there's no point. I was like, there's still a point. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
yeah, we were like, we'll still go.
Yeah. You not fancy, you know? Yeah. So it didn't end up happening, but even that, watching it in the bar. But I love that though. It's like Tom said, then it's something about touring. It's like almost like
everyone
a break.
has the same thing. He was probably with all his crew and thought, right, let's find somewhere to watch it. We were like, yeah, we're going to find somewhere to watch it. So it's kind of
it's nice.
It's nice. The days off when there's a game on a day off.
Oh,
class.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because you're Tom and Joe the City fans, aren't you? Rather than Tom and Joe Blossoms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it becomes like something completely different, and we've got like all different setups, haven't we? And iPads, laptops.
Yeah.
So
It's good fun. I'm already looking forward to it now.
The worst is when you're playing. When you're actually on stage, when it like clashes with the kickoff. But we've got our tour manager, Wolfie, he's a City fan as well. And he's always side stage like, 1-0.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? Like, always comes in your ears like, Haaland scored again. Do you know what I mean? Like, which he's...
Freak.
Yeah.
He's mad, innit?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I was like, what is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it blows my mind when you look at it.
Yeah.
Even the hatching that figure at the moment where it's like, how many... It's just mind-blowing, isn't it?
11 hat-tricks in 102 games.
His level... And
it's like...
Yeah.
It's obscene, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it is just like...
But no words, is it really?
He's getting better as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's only 24.
Yeah.
He's looking so sharp, isn't he?
Yeah. I think the whole team does this. I think they kind of look a bit... Maybe it's just me, but I feel like they're playing without that much pressure on them.
Well, what the last
weirdly,
the last 3 seasons or 2 seasons, we've started badly, haven't we?
We started looking tired, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas it just seems something different about the start this year.
This year, yeah,
it's so sharp.
Yeah, like just a bit like, we're just doing our thing.
Nathan's not been the team. John's not been the team. Phil's not been
Rodri,
Kyle, and it's like.
Do you think there's that?
Mad, isn't it?
I know. Do you think there's something there with that though? Do you know what I mean? Do you think the fact that they like because
I just think they want to. They are driven by breaking records now and winning things.
Yeah.
And I don't think MD will ever do 4 in a row again. No. So to be able to do 5 in a row
would be mad.
And a Champions League alongside it would just be.
Imagine.
It would cement them as the best team ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And I think as a football player, you that because that's different level in it.
That's legacy, isn't it? That's your legacy forever now.
Yeah. It's weird in football because players have that, don't they? We were saying this today. We were like, it's weird that you can do something and you've entwined, like you're part of City's history now forever. That'll be always entwined. That goal is just like, it's like cemented your like. It's mad. It's like,
weird. Yeah.
There's nothing else like that, is there? But there's always going to be players and things like that where it's like,
moments.
Yeah,
It's
like
like sliding doors, isn't it? If
Yeah,
that
it
didn't
is.
happen, where does your life go?
I feel like
But
David Silva's another one.
I think this lot as well. I
Yeah.
just think they are, because people say to me that don't know the game, or they're like, they're not really that bothered. They've won this, they've won that. Top players drive themselves to be even better all the time and to win more things.
It's that like Michael Jordan thing, that
Absolutely.
documentary. Like, it reminds me a bit. Obviously, he was like a freak in his own nature, but
And
his own way,
sometimes you get one or two, maybe three individuals in a changing room that think that way.
Yeah.
They all think that way here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the difference, you know.
You can see though, can't you? But you can see why that mentality works.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't have that mentality, you're not going to fit in it.
No.
I mean, you can see that already with like little things like, I mean, I don't know at all, but you know, there's certain players who you think don't have that, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and it's just like it's out, and you sort of think maybe they didn't have that mentality. Do you know what I mean? And that's like, if you don't have that mentality, fair enough, but see you later.
Yeah, but then you think we're not going to be as good, but we end up being better for
Always,
it.
yeah.
You know?
It's great. I mean, without going in like massive detail, talking about the fullbacks, the way that the fullbacks have changed in the last, almost every year, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's in terms of like what's demanded of them, what's expected, and coming through. It's just an example of like the level of, you've talked about like the dedication and the drive, but the detail as well is just.
But for the whole
different
team,
level
I
with
think
this team.
people highlight the fullbacks because it's, especially the first time we've done the inverted, nobody'd ever seen that before.
Yeah, yeah.
But you look at even the centre halves, you look at the midfielder, look at Rodri, defensive midfielder. Rodri's scoring goals left, right, and centre. He's
Yeah,
get
yeah.
further up the pitch, and he evolves it all the time. KDB, you know, we done the podcast with him last week, and he was saying my game has to evolve to make me better to stay in this team. And you think he's the best midfielder in the world.
Yeah.
You know? and
What did Bernardo say? He called himself an attacking defender didn't
Yeah.
he, as well.
Yeah.
Just like.
But he's even like Haaland tracking back. Do you know what I mean? The weekend and stuff like that. Like it's stuff that
his game's evolved in the short space of time
Yeah.
he's been here.
You
as
think
well.
about- if
They've
you
all
think
got
about
to put
him-
on a few different hats, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which I think
Well,
is
that's
part
that-
of it.
that-
What
that's
makes it
Pep,
good.
innit?
And that's
Pep's
what
changed-
keeps them ahead of the game
Yeah.
all
And
the
it's
time.
been said how many times Pep's changed just English football now. I mean, the way you like, our mate's got a few kids and that, and the way they're like football and stuff like that now, it's just complete. When you're
Yeah.
little, you play football. It's just everyone chasing a football. Now. Do you know what I mean? Now we have people actually like.
Kids are playing football.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we
Kids
was watching
playing
with theirs.
out
Like,
there, back
they're
yeah.
actually
Wild.
mint. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just zipping the ball about and holding positions and stuff. And you're just like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're like 8. You might just be like running around having a nice time, but it's weird, isn't it? He's the best manager of all time. I think I'm not bothered. People can call him biased or whatever, but he's literally changed the way football is played in the whole country. Do you know what I mean? And every country he goes to.
At every level as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. There's no one else who can like, and everyone's like, oh, but because the obvious the obvious comparison is him and Fergie, and everyone's like, oh, Fergie was probably a better man manager and stuff. Like, I don't.
It's different eras as well.
Yeah, I don't like compare. I don't think.
No,
you can
I don't
compare.
like. But I'm thinking if you're gonna compare it and say that, but like, Pep, look at the squad he's got, and do you know what I mean? Like, imagine trying to manage that constantly and keep all that people like.
Yeah, and the case studies as well. Like you look at, I mean, Phil Foden now, he's won, how many awards did he win last season? But there were 2 or 3 years when he was really young lad coming in.
Yeah.
And even Pep was saying he's good enough, but we've just got to manage his minutes and stuff. And
Yeah.
you can't have imagined, as much as Phil loves the club and he's an amazing, dedicated bloke, you can't imagine you want to hang around too long. If
Yeah.
you're not getting
Or
games,
how
you go
easy.
elsewhere.
But it's that trust in it. You've got
That's
to have
what I
that
mean.
trust.
Yeah, you do.
That trust issue between the manager and the players.
Yeah. But that's what I was getting at with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's obviously instilled it and he's trusted him and he's got that, like, that friendship with him. Do you know what I mean? As well as like that management and working relationship with him where he has gone, yeah, I trust you. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, look at, I don't know, it's paid off a tiny bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, just a bit.
We haven't really spoke about Phil, have we? Seen as though the Stockport thing.
So how close, where he grew up in Stockport, how far away was he
Well
from
close.
there?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
like, proper like.
Something in the
Weird,
water around there, isn't there?
Wild,
Wild, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I don't know. He's a different level to us.
Yeah, he's
like
got a
Oasis.
mural. Do you know what I mean?
We haven't got a mural yet, yeah. But it's he's just another one, isn't he? It's just like
Such a good player.
when you see there's a few mates of ours who like were playing football and he was playing football with them, but like either against them or it's Jamie and it was his brother, his younger brother, played football against him once and James said he was there and he was like,
But he was like 3 years younger than them all then.
and do you know what I mean? Like I remember him.
He
like,
plays
like,
sometimes as if he's still playing that sort of football.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just natural ability that
Yeah.
he's got.
It's just so good to
Yeah.
watch.
But
Still a bit of a street footballer while having all the different.
Yeah.
things
He's got
as
everything.
well.
Honestly, he's got absolutely everything. He's just sensational.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Is this your favourite City team ever? I love this.
I was going to ask that.
Oh yeah.
Should we swap?
I was going to say yeah.
Shall I play Wythenshawe?
Because I was thinking, I was going to say, but it's true, innit? Because I was thinking, no, it's like at the moment, I think this is my favourite. Like, there's not one player where I'm a bit like, oh, he's all right. I'm like everything. I'm like,
It's so difficult, mate.
go
How
on.
can you lose Sergio?
I know.
The Pellegrini, the first year of Pellegrini was the one for me that.
David Silva.
Yeah, you have like different
like-
things for like nostalgia
But
reasons.
then it's
don't
different
you?
eras again. I know it's
Yeah.
recent history, but
Yeah, because I feel like Aguero was part of that. Like that first year they won it though with Mancini and stuff. Like I have a soft spot for that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, like Yaya, Company,
Yeah.
Zabaleta,
when you used to drop
Micah.
his shoulder and just like, oh, it's class.
De
wasn't
Jong
it?
was boss. Do you know what I mean? Like there was so many like big players.
I love De Jong.
But this team, like, yeah, it is.
I
it
think
is
for the
unreal.
consistency over the last couple
Yeah.
of years
Yeah.
and the
it's-
competition they're up against, to keep doing it is just.
even just the football itself. Do you know what I mean? Like watching it, like someone was saying to me the other day, "Oh, do you get a bit bored of that? Like, sort of like the way they would just kill teams." Like, no. I don't just kill teams all day. Do you know what I mean? If we pass it around the back in front of their box, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like taking it time, just that's amazing. Isn't it, the way they do that.
Yeah.
Like, when they get a bit of thinking, they just get the ball, get the push, and just bang, just away from home, killing like teams at their own place. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. The West Ham game the other week. I mean, West Ham is not an easy place to go.
Good team this year as well.
And the way that.
It could have been 3-0 after like 20 minutes.
That's what
Couldn't
I mean. It's just
it?
insane.
Mad.
It's absolutely mad.
What we said it when they scored, and Ipswich were like, there's a bit of a change. I think that this season, whereas like last season might have been a tiny, not panic because it's not the right word. Because I don't think they'd ever panic, but there was always a bit of like, oh no, oh, do you know what I mean? Or maybe try, like we were saying before, maybe trying that little bit harder or something. Whereas this time it seems like when it's got, it's like no, just keep
alright.
doing, yeah, fine.
Just keep doing what we're doing and it'll come.
And it's just like there's something different this season.
First half Saturday, I thought West Ham was going to be really tough.
I did.
New manager, new signings, good team, there's a lot of good
You
players.
look at that squad.
Then saying it could have been 3, it could have been 5 at half time.
Yeah,
And then they just keep going.
I went
Just
to that
relentless.
away day last year, West Ham. Good time, good stadium.
Yeah.
It's a well good away day. Because
Yeah.
it's one of them ones you don't really think about, but I was like, I had a well good time, well good laugh.
So have you both still got season tickets? I mean, with all the other demands going on, or at least you still get the chance to see us as much
No,
as
very
you want
kindly the club sort us out now.
They're there more than me. What are you talking about?
No, it's one of them. We had season tickets up until we were like 19, 20. And we had it like the first year of the band starting, but then we got like a manager and then a booking agent, and we ended up on tours all the time.
You get so
basically.
many commitments, didn't you?
Yeah, and like we call them the toilet tours of the time. They were like, you just go out for like a month up and down the country and you're playing to like 10 people, and then 4 months later you go and play again and you play to like 40 people or whatever. So at that point we were kind of like, again, I was giving my tickets to my brother all the time, giving them away, and then we had to just be like, the season after, we were like, right, we can't renew it now because we're literally, they map out the year and we were like, we're away now for the foreseeable. Yeah, I had no money either. So we were like, right, we'll have to give it up. Obviously, we were on the road a lot. We still watched all the games and stuff like that. And then, once we got to like our first album coming out, the club then invited us, like to. I think we played like City Square and stuff
You've
like
done
that.
the parade one year as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that was like after that. But we did. They basically invited us through our like record label at the time because they got wind, we were City fans, into like the nice bit and all that. And we were like, wow, do you know what I mean? Like,
We had a photo, didn't we?
into the chairmans and
we
all
followed the
that.
chairman, you
Did
know
a
what I
few
mean, like a Blossom
interviews and
shirt
stuff.
like that. It's
I think
class.
maybe they just realised we were actual City fans, if you know what I mean. So we did go to games still in between, like sporadic ones. I think we went to a couple of like Champions League games and stuff like that, and like our mates have tickets, we'd go with them and bought tickets where we could. And then once the club started inviting us, we just was like, wow, this is great. So started getting invited, and yeah, we've been to like you said, we played the parades and stuff like that. So we've got friendly with like loads of people at the club, and like we've got to shout out Claire.
Oh yeah.
Like because Claire's like sorted us out for like the past couple of seasons now, and she's just been
Superstar.
so kind and like
She worked here at City for like years, hasn't she? Like
part of the furniture
She's
vibe.
absolutely
She was there when you were
Yeah,
playing.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's mad.
That's
Love
what
her
I
to
mean.
bits.
I love that though. I love that about the City. I think that's the one thing. Like obviously a fan before now and all that, but like now like, a little bit it's like doing this today and stuff. When you come down and stuff like that, there's a proper
Yeah,
like
because we've luckily been able to see a bit of behind
Yeah.
the scenes and stuff through what we've done, and you do see like these people who've been here for like years,
I
and they're
say
still
it all the time to people that the owners don't get the credit they deserve. There's people that worked at Main Road,
yeah.
Yeah.
Carrington, You go to the Etihad now, come to training ground, same people. It's the heart and soul of the club, you know.
Yeah, isn't it?
They're the people the players are seeing every day and stuff, aren't they?
That's that thing, but they know, don't they? They've been it. They know what to do, they know how to act. You know, do you know what I mean? It's just like it sort of makes complete sense, doesn't it? Everything about.
Last season, sorry to go back, we came to like nearly every game. I think you did come to every game.
I went to every home game last season.
Which was nice.
It's the
so
first
this
time,
year, I don't think we'll because the
yeah.
album's out in like 2 weeks. It's going to be a bit more.
We're on tour in like.
Going to be a few streams in mad places. This
We're
year.
on tour as well, aren't we? Like October.
I was going to say we have to scope
November
which games.
time.
We're doing an away trip this year, though, aren't we? Together.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to do one of the
European,
Champions League
yeah.
ones. Yeah.
We have to do it.
I just thought I'll get that in there. So
Yeah.
people who are watching.
That's it now.
Get it
We'll come and do. We'll do some interviews with you on the ground. We'll do a little documentary.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, easy.
There we go.
There you go.
We'll do anything.
He's listening now.
Yeah. We'll do anything you want. We are that easy.
PSG away.
Editors just in the gallery going around, cutting it. Get rid of that.
They're not coming back. We said this on the way, you know, when you park up and you walk past the first team building. It was like, Tom's like, that's first team building. It's like, yeah, they're all international. That's why we're allowed here. Yeah.
Right,
if you're Real Madrid, like, do the Blossoms, lads. Like, fuck, they'd be nosing up anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like,
just looking ahead to this season, then, because I mean, we've talked about how amazing the start's been. What do you reckon is? I don't want to tempt fate or anything, but I just think it's going to pan out. What do you reckon we can go on to achieve?
I mean, the thing is with this team, anything's possible. But it actually is, I think. So I'm not one to get too carried away and be like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. I'm just enjoying, game by game and just seeing them. What I said to me, it looks like they're just playing with like not really much pressure on them, weirdly. But I do think they could actually. It wouldn't surprise me if they started getting, come February, March, they're still in all the competitions and it's kind of. They're going on to do 5 would be amazing.
I think the difference is like, look at there was a few players in the past season, Rodri being the biggest one. When we didn't have Rodri, we just looked so unorganised and it just looked like it was crumbling.
Kovacic is worth a nod.
That's what I mean.
I feel like he's really come into his own.
What a player.
Look at these first few games now where it's like it just feels different. I don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean? It does, like you say, it's like there's like a sharpness to it, but then there's a list of players who've.
It's a squad thing for me.
Yeah.
It's just.
I think.
We named 5-6 players before that are not even been. On the pitch, really, at the minute.
Even Gundogan coming back. You spoke about that. How good's that?
Yeah.
I love little fairy tale stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like, when you saw about it, it was like, oh, then you were a bit late, and he was like, it's Gundogan coming back to see.
I missed it. I was like, what?
It happened pretty fast, though, didn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because I remember reading it at first, going like, oh, yeah, he said that Barca thing, and all upset. He might come back to City, and I was thinking, that's like when it said Messi was coming to City. Do you know what I mean? I was like, it's just one of them things, it's just like a little speculation that you sort of read, and you might get a bit carried away with, but I was like, oh my god! Like, he's actually coming back. Like, I love stuff like that.
Well, on the episode of it, we did an Inside City episode when he signed, and in the conversations then, I think it was quick for him as well. It was just a case of like, wow. But then he knew that when he found out City were interested, which again I suppose is the influence of the club and what it means. It was just like that's where I'm going.
I think it's a great sign, not just on the pitch, but his influence off the pitch and the changing room as well.
Well, he was the captain, wasn't he? So he's going to be a big player in the dressing room.
Talking about we were talking about mentality, weren't we? I mean. It's the ultimate new signing, someone that you know what he's going to do because he's already done it. Yeah. But he's coming in, he's going to add to it. It's just.
That's what I mean. You don't need to learn any systems or learn. He knows how Pep works. You know what I mean? Well, like look at it now.
And he's so versatile. He can play so many different positions in that midfield in so many different ways.
He's coming already, and when he comes on, you just know he's just going to be mint. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Who do you reckon the challengers are? Let's talk about Premier League. Who do you think?
It's got to be Arsenal. You can't. They've been so close and sort of knocking on that door now for a few seasons.
Still think Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like Liverpool have got like they've got that air of new manager. Yeah. And the players have probably got a bit of something to prove. I think.
It seems a seamless transition, though, doesn't it? You
know? So I'd say it sounds obvious saying Arsenal and Liverpool, but it does feel like that. And like you said, Arsenal have been brewing for a few years now. Like they've got to, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna have to step up.
We're just gonna keep knocking on that door, aren't they? I think Sterling Fern's a mint signing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's like, and I just think that I think they're the biggest one. It's weird, isn't it?
It's hard to say after 3 games as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Like we said, the last few seasons we've started rubbish. Last few seasons, and then gone on to like pick up steam. So City usually pick up after Christmas, don't they, and just go on a bit of a run.
I just think it's gonna even like last season, like them little like the draw that Arsenal had this week. Do you know what I mean? Like they're things that at the beginning of the season you used to be like. A few seasons ago, but it doesn't matter. It's the beginning of the season. Where now I think that's like
it's going to like one game.
People think, well, that's 2 points already, and you're on 3 games. Do you know what I mean?
But that's what it's got like. And it's got because everyone sort of says sit there and say City have just dominated the league, but really we have because we've won it.
We've
But
won
it's
on
not-
goal difference. We've won on like literally down to the wire.
We've
Stuff.
never like steamrolled it and won. Do you know what I mean? Really comfortably every time. Do you know what I mean? So it's like them little marginal.
Yeah, they've had to
games
grind
now.
it out. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like them little things now. So it's like every game is like massive. I think the Premier League at the moment is
It's crazy.
so good, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like
It's going to be the toughest Premier League this year to win, to qualify for Europe.
Yeah.
The relegation. It's just, there's so many good teams in there now that can. Talking about West Ham, I think we played West Ham at a good time
yeah,
before their new signing started to bed in, because
yeah. Before them,
a lot of clubs will go there and won't fancy it at
No.
all. Villa again, I think Villa. You know,
That's why I'm sort of gutted about Arsenal at home so early on in the season. I prefer that fixture to be. Do you know what I mean?
Further
Like,
down
'cause
the line.
at our place, I'll take us any time. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we've sort of built up a real good like atmosphere now at the Etihad, haven't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's one way it's like early on, but it's like it could work either way. That couldn't it? You could crush them, and then they sort of find it hard, like find it a bit harder to try and fit into that momentum and stuff like that. But
Yeah, definitely. Well,
I don't know.
lads could speak to you all day if we had
Oh
the
yeah, I
chance.
could literally sit here all day.
But we'll
Change that water for beer and we'll be fine.
what was it,
Lad,
Dakota?
mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll take it on
We'll
the
take
road.
the mics. It'll be
Yeah,
fine. Yeah.
Take it on the road. We always finish off. What we do is we have a guest who leaves a question for the next guests, and then if you guys are all right leaving a question for our next guest.
Class.
We're not sure who your next guest is going to be. That's the beauty of it. So
Okay.
we keep it generic. But the question that was left for you is actually by Kevin De Bruyne.
Love it.
This is a tough one, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's a good
one of the
isn't
best
it?
ones yet. Yeah.
I know.
What three? Correct me if I'm wrong here, Paul, because obviously it was you that was recording and I wasn't there. But what three moments in your life or decisions in your life have been like the most important? Was that right?
Jesus,
one? Yeah.
Kevin.
I know.
I was like, oh, I don't fancy who gets this one next. And then it was you guys.
Do you know what? One of them, I think the decision to sign our major label.
Say the question again. Three things.
Three big like life decisions that you really like were the right call that have really helped you out.
Defining moments.
Yeah,
That
defining
because
moments.
it's weird because signing a major record label. Do you know what I mean? People look down at it sometimes as like a negative, and there is some things that are negative. But I think without a major label, despite all of our press, I don't think we'd be where we are now. Do you know what I mean? Like I think we needed that extra push. Do you know what I mean? That oomph. So I'd say that one, along with everything else, like our management, comrade. Do you know what I mean? All that, like meeting them and things like that. I think that was like the turning point in our career. So I think there's got to be one of them. On it.
Yeah. Big
That was
question.
another good one. I've got a bad mistake.
Oh,
Go on
it's a
then. Yeah, why
defining
not?
moment.
I've not going to Istanbul.
Oh.
I think about that all the time.
Do you?
That was great, mate.
Because we were there. Do you know what? We were there. We were there and we won the league. We were at the FA Cup game, and we didn't go there. We watched it together in your garden. We got the TV out. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'd like it was still a good vibe, and it was nice because the reason we didn't go again was because we couldn't take our dads.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have that thing. So,
Sure.
but yeah, that was one I sort of weird. Do you know what I mean? Because just because it would have been at every single one. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that would have been like, that would have been amazing. But I don't know. The more I spoke about it now, saying with my dad.
I like that. Seeing it with your dad, though, it was special for me because I had Sam and Max with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It
exactly,
wouldn't
yeah.
have been, I think, not watching it with my boys, who, as you know, are big City fans as well.
Yeah, exactly,
That's
yeah.
what made it even.
Gareth had the same, didn't he?
Yeah.
Gareth Taylor.
But it's true, isn't it? Because that's just, it's weird, isn't it? Because you sort of see it as like you and the team, and that's it. So, but it's not. It's a lot bigger
Yeah.
than that. Do you know
Of
what I mean?
course it
Like,
is.
like we were saying then, the reason I sort of got into it. with our
I mean,
friend
would you
Tom.
have felt the same if you'd went and watched it, but not watched it with your dad? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we probably would have been like, oh, I wish maybe I should have stayed at home and watched
Yeah.
it with my dad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the flip side to that. I've sort of taught myself out
Big
of that
question. It's a big question, isn't it?
That sounds like a really good moment.
one. Yeah, no, yeah,
That's your
exactly.
second
Yeah.
one.
It's a tough
I love
one.
how
Three
I
things.
love how deeply you're thinking into it. Come on, this is what you meant to say when you met me.
Well, I could say that because it leads to
Could
leads
say
to
that,
a couple
but
of
I'm
things,
not.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because you're married to my sister,
Yeah.
and also
The
we're in a
band.
band.
So I suppose that is quite a big thing, isn't it? I've got a few things stemmed off you. And you got something stemmed off me as well, haven't you?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I can't write tunes. That's all I'll say.
So there you go. Us two becoming friends.
Friends.
There you go.
That's a nice one. That.
Cringe.
What a lovely,
Oh, yeah, that's
That's a
quite-
really
what a lovely
Um,
cringy way
Yeah,
to
no,
finish
yeah.
it.
Oh, it feels
Just
sick.
for your sister, though. That's the only
Cheers,
reason.
mate. Nice one. Yeah.
And then need a third one, don't we? Does it need to? Can be our own thing, can't it?
Yeah, go on.
Not everything
What
needs to be
have you-
collective.
What have you got?
Trying to think. What is it? Breakthrough things, big
Yeah,
moments.
big
Yeah,
moments, yeah.
yeah.
God, feels like it's got to be so like
Poignant.
yeah.
And intellectual.
Nah, don't make it intellectual.
Can you think of anything else?
Do you know what? I think just getting the courage to be myself.
Wow.
In that time, do you know when we talk about them when you follow your mates up? Me going, I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just being like, I'm going to get the short
Just
haircut,
going with
everyone else.
being a sheep and following
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
else.
And just going on because that led to.
I probably got another like me writing songs, like, do you know what I mean, like pursuing it.
Yeah.
Without really, you don't really realise at the time though. But the amount of time I spent doing it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I did that.
Yeah.
But at the time, I never was like aware that I was just doing what I liked doing.
Working out a craft.
Yeah, you kind of, it's that old thing and that 10,000 hours thing that you got
Just
to put
being
that in
yourself.
to get it out. So
Did he answer that question himself, by the way?
no.
I wish I
So now we've got a.
You've got
If
to
I ever
think
see
of
him,
a
I'm going to
question.
say, damn tweet, and he'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Who are you? I love you.
So we've got to now leave one, haven't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
It's got to
yeah.
be good, right? It's got to be as poignant as that.
It can be anything.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Do you not think so?
No.
That's the toughest one yet. There have been some
I love that one, though.
pretty rubbish ones as well. Aren't
One of
there?
them was, what do you think of me? As in, like, I won't say
Do we
who,
know
but it
who's
said-
the next person on?
No.
No.
So it could be anyone.
Could be
Yeah.
anyone.
Mm.
Could be one of the players. Could be a former player.
Could be one of the women's team.
Yeah.
Mm.
For some reason, I'm thinking of go-to chippy order. I don't know why.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
a
that's good, then.
cracking
Yeah.
one, that.
Go-to chippy order.
What's
Yeah.
yours?
Depends. I've got two, if I can say two.
Yeah.
So it depends how I'm feeling.
No, because I've got the same.
It might be the same thing. Chips, obviously.
Fish.
So it's all just fish or sausage.
No. No. Chips, sausage, steak and kidney pudding, and gravy. That's like if I'm indulging.
Wow.
So that's just like.
That's so
That's
unnew.
gout, innit?
That's so
Yeah.
unnew, that.
Do you think?
Yeah.
It's the old me.
No, but to get the pudding and the sausage.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
sausage just had little sides, a must.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the other one is just fish, chips, peas, mushy peas. Fish, chips, mushy peas.
The colossal
Like-
cod.
Inspired by your Grand Dorcas.
Yeah.
Lightly battered fish.
Yeah.
Oh, you asked for lightly battered.
Yeah, I do now. because
Nice.
of that. So they're my two. They're mine. innit?
Solid.
I'm allergic to fish.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a finned fish allergy, which sounds like I make it up every single time, but it's true.
So it's
I-
just ray fish. You can
So I
have.
just can't. I just don't really have fish
No.
because even cooked in the same
Oh yeah.
oil and everything. So
But when you did eat chippies, what would you say?
it was just, I'm a sausage man. You know what I mean? I love the
Sausage and I used to love a chip balm as well. to be
Oh,
fair, if you were in
chip,
there.
shout out chip balm.
Yeah.
Year 8, used to go climb over the fence.
Go and get a chip balm.
Chip balm, green
Pot of
door.
gravy. Dip
Shout
it in.
out. I never used to do that.
Did you not?
Bit of a faff when you're 12, that isn't it?
Nah, I
Do you know
was,
what I mean?
I'm all about
Like,
the gravy.
I'd like to be sat at a table if I'm messing around with
So you got to
like
climb
gravy.
back over, haven't you?
Yeah,
I'm messing out with gravy all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's something to drink.
I had a chippy in ages.
I'm starving now.
Yeah.
Talking about this.
You don't
But
do
yeah.
it anymore, do you? Without
Do you know what,
feeling-
we used to take when we had the season ticket in like back in the day. We used to
Oh,
go to that Tony
Tony's.
Stadium chippy, whatever
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
called, chip balm and a sausage separately in the pocket into the ground, and we'd eat it in the seat watching the game.
Well, good, cozy. I was fuming when I found out he wasn't even a City fan though.
Yeah, we were like, oh, you must love like the club, and what he was like, love Formula One, me mate. And we were like, okay,
Get out.
This conversation.
But
give us a chip
it
balm and
does
I'll
make
get out.
sense, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because if you love the kid, you'd want to be there. Do you know what I mean? You want to be in the
Just have
ground.
fish and chips, wouldn't it,
Yeah,
really, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
That is true, yeah.
But yeah.
What's yours,
Oh.
Paul?
More chicken chips, curry sauce,
Chicken.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
and a sausage on the side.
Love that.
Interesting.
Curry sauce.
So
is
yeah,
good.
Katie does a sausage chaser on the side. She
Sausage-
should, if she's doing like fish chips and mushy peas, she gets a sausage with a tub of gravy on the side.
Yeah, to dip in.
That's a really good shout.
Yeah.
Go on, what's yours?
Chip balm, fish cake.
Fish cake.
Yeah. Mushy peas. And then
Wow.
I'll have gravy with that. Or if I'm just being a bit feeling dirty, I'll just have chip balm and curry sauce.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what, I don't mind a little scallop though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Belter.
30p.
Yeah.
Probably not anymore.
Do you remember the bits as well? You used to be able to get bits.
Scraps, yeah.
Yeah, little scraps.
Load of salt.
Right, we're all off to a chip shop now.
I was gonna
yeah.
say, apart from me.
Tony's.
No, Joe, Tom, thanks so much
Thanks
for
so
your
much.
time.
Thanks for having us.
Really enjoyed it.
Nice one,
amazing.
mate. Thanks for having us on.
Nice one.
Nice one.
The unbeatable official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.